Hello, welcome to Return to Self. My name's Alana, and if we haven't met before, then it's lovely to meet you. Now, today I received a download in relation to ascension symptoms that are coming up for the collective at the moment. As you go through this shift in your energy and your frequency, you may start to notice issues with insomnia and also issues with pains and things like that around your heart chakra. Some of you may also be experiencing blockages and issues in relation to your solar plexus. And what I'm being told is that these issues or blockages are related to fantasy thinking. I think that this is probably the self protective mechanism. You are being asked to release this slowly. Today, I pulled out 10 cards, and I'm being told that we're going to talk about karmic patterns that are coming up in the collective at the moment. So, what I'm being told is that the karmic patterns are starting to clear, and these might be related to family patterns or past life karma. I have been seeing within myself a lot of past lives starting to come up, and I have had a lot of intense energy coming up around the heart chakra. I have also noticed that my energy has been quite drained lately. If you are only just starting to experience emotional issues coming up, know that this is just a part of the clearing process. I know that it's really hard. I know that it can be super challenging. Just send out a prayer to the universe, to your guides, to your higher self to help you navigate your way through all of these emotions that are coming up for you at the moment. First card that we pulled out was Boab, and that's just a flower related to karmic patterns and things like that. I'm just being told that you're basically cleansing karmic patterns at the moment. You might start having recollections of past lives, especially for those of you who are particularly gifted or have the ability to see past lives. You may also get images of trauma experiences that you've had in the past. Just know that these are all coming up for clearing at the moment. The purpose of this is to try and clear out your heart chakra so that you can receive higher frequency downloads. This will help you to feel more empowered. The next card under that one was forgiveness, and it says release resentment to regain balance. So, what I can see is that these issues coming up are actually issues in relation to the misuse of masculine energy. So these issues coming up relate to the misuse of power, control, things like that. Or perhaps you might be getting past lives where you have been a sort of unwilling victim of some of these energies from others. Just know that this is transmuting at the moment. So those feelings of vulnerability, fear, anxiety may be coming up, but it's coming up to clear. I am also being given the word scared. So some of you may be feeling quite scared as you go through this process. I see that this is helping to bring you into a higher level of self love and self worth. I'm also being told that it will help to empower you. Empowerment seems to be a really big theme at the moment. So I suspect that a lot of you have felt disempowered. I'm also getting a feeling of emotional numbness. So perhaps some of you have had difficulties processing some of these emotions that have come up. Some of these emotions might be related to this lifetime, but I also feel like a lot of it is also past life related. I'm being told that the angels are helping you through this process. Call out to them if you need help, advice, or guidance. If you've got a particular angel that you feel particularly connected with, maybe use that one. What I am being told is to use your logic when you're channeling. You know how sometimes you can't hear them clearly? I think that when you are going through clearing periods, it's really common for your intuition to not feel as clear. Just know that the messages that do feel right and that impact on you deeply are usually intuitive feelings to follow and acknowledge. The next one after this I get is Angel Sword. And this one just says the clear spiritual communication and discernment. Perhaps this is what they're saying in relation to needing to use logic at times. I guess it's probably about using your discernment in relation to the messages that you're receiving. St. Teresa is coming through at the moment. She might be somebody to reach out to if you are feeling particularly called or connected to her. She's helping to educate people in relation to concepts like forgiveness, self-love, self-worth. I also see a bird's nest, which for me means a sense of home. And maybe what she's referring to is finding a sense of safety and stability within yourself. Oh, sorry about that. I got interrupted by my toddler. I think what it was up to World Shadow. This one says veiled desires are reawakening. So I think in relation to World Shadow, you might be starting to deal with a lot of issues that the world has been dealing with. One thing that I did get repeated in my head was the words conformity. So I wonder if some of you are actually battling with issues in relation to conformity, trying to conform in order to fit into society. They're showing me the sword in relation to this, so perhaps you use your discernment. I do also see a link back to ancient Egypt as well. Perhaps there's some past life stuff in ancient Egypt that's needing to be explored for some of you. I do feel like for some of you, this is where some of the foundational issues might lie. So it definitely could be useful for you to go back into this lifetime if you can, using some sort of past life meditation or something like that. Perhaps to do a bit of healing work around this issue. All right. So the next card I've pulled out was the grey spider flower, and this says releases deep fears and terror. So, with this card, I definitely get a sense of foreboding, intense anxiety, and things like that. So, I suspect that whatever is coming up for you right now is actually really intense. I get the words collective as well. So, this might be an issue coming up that a lot of the collective experiences. I'm also getting the words individualism. So, this might be about you starting to break out of conformity and moving towards individualism and the fear, anxiety, and worry that can come in relation to that. For myself, I have noticed that a lot of my past lives have been lifetimes where there has been large amounts of anxiety and fear from what I've been able to sense. I think that this is probably just energies that are releasing from the heart chakra at the moment. Perhaps these energies have repressed your ability to forgive and heal in some way. I'm also getting the card grief here, and it says opening a natural path to healing loss. So I am seeing a star here as well. The star to me always means that you're being guided. So you're being guided through this healing process, being guided through this emotional transformation. They're telling me that you do need to set intentions in terms of what you desire in your life at the moment. I think setting really clear intentions for yourself in terms of what you're wanting to remove and what you're wanting to move into can be really helpful. I also get the words respect. So I suspect that some of you might be seeking environments and situations which are much more respectful of you than past situations have been. I also see the Mercury star here. So if anybody is drawn to the Mercury star, perhaps it could be useful to do some meditations on this. Perhaps there's some healing work that you need to do around it. I do get the words grief. So for certain people, it might be a useful tool to utilize in relation to releasing grief. I do see the people that this applies to, that your journey has been particularly hard and you are particularly advanced as souls. I believe that the reason that the grief is so intense is because you've had a lot of lifetimes, you've had a lot of experiences. Therefore, you're having to move through a lot more collective density within your field. So, you may find that you're particularly triggered at the moment, is what I'm being told. Take a deep breath and just try and move through it slowly, but be compassionate. You are going through a lot of energy changes at the moment, clearing a lot of energy. Some of this can be generations worth of themes that are coming up. They're saying to me it can cause a lot of confusion. This stuff has been hidden from you for quite some time. It's also prevented you from speaking up. Get the words problems. So I suspect whatever's been coming up for you have been problems throughout lifetimes. And they're saying to me that you're now being required to come into a place of stillness so that you can begin to process through some of these emotional binds. Processing through this will give you greater clarity. You will really need to go into that hermit type energy to be able to process through some of this stuff. So, if you do feel like you're withdrawing from people, there's a good reason for that at the moment. I'm getting the word scarcity as well. So, some of you might be dealing with a bit of scarcity thinking. I do feel like this is probably related to some of the grief and loss that you've experienced through past lives. Know that this might be coming up at the moment for you and might be reflected in the problems that you're encountering in your life today. The next card I got was Lighten, and it says, allow one to be aware of the light. I think that you're transmuting so much energy that you're going into some of the deeper recesses of your soul right now, places that probably haven't seen the light of day for quite some time. And you're just being invited at the moment to reflect on these areas, to try and heal these areas as much as you can to bring light to those areas. Bringing light to these areas will help you to receive, is what I'm being told. There's been an issue within the collective at the moment about not feeling safe and not feeling able to receive from the universe. I suspected that that's because of some past life wounding and probably blocking off your heart chakra to try and block off some of the emotional fallout that you've experienced. But you are now being asked to kind of rip the Band-Aid off to allow light into those spaces. They are saying to me as well that all of these problems and issues that you have experienced have actually been related to respect. So I think you might have been quite disrespected in a lot of lifetimes. Respect seems to be a big thing. I'm also seeing tools. Some of you could have been gifted or quite talented in past lives. And those gifts or abilities and things like that perhaps haven't been respected or acknowledged. You may not have received the recognition that you probably should have in the past, but every well that you've been in service to. So perhaps service hasn't been recognized. I'm getting the words the planetary alignment. So we might be moving into astrological influences where we are now starting to reap the rewards from those experiences that we've had. I guess it's just acknowledging that part of you that might feel like it has been not acknowledged and not accepted. So getting the word compassion here. This card has a figure of a rose in it, and there's lots of light and bright colours kind of emanating from it. It says co-creating space for passionate inclusion. So I got the word service again. I definitely feel the reason that you are needing to come into this place of greater compassion is for some form of service. So Spirit would like you to be of service in some way. They're saying to me that they would like you to contribute to the collective's evolution. I'm also seeing eagle. Eagles to me mean having a bit of a bird's eye view of situations. Perhaps you are feeling too emotionally attached to some of the situations that you're in at the moment. I know that this is a really hard thing to balance. It is really hard to retain perspective sometimes when you are going through such a sort of difficult kind of cleansing process. The last card I've got here is a bottle brush, and it says to let go and cope with change. Mother and child bonding. I also get something in relation to cycles. So I suspect that you might have just had a cycle that has ended. I'm getting the words issues as well. So I think what I'm getting in relation to this is that there's some feminine issues that are coming through at the moment in relation to bonding, intimacy, and attachment and things like that. So I think this refers more to the attachments that you have to people in your life at the moment. Perhaps you've been wounded by attachment figures or by people that should have had your best interest at heart, but for some reasons haven't. I do feel that there is a lot of emotions coming up in relation to this. I do see a caterpillar as well. So, for some of you, you may not be at the end of that transformation period. You might be more towards the start of it. But just know that this is coming up for you at the moment, or is likely to come up for you shortly. The very last card I have here is Heart Love, and it says the unconditional center. So, the aim of going through all of this is basically to come into your heart center. It's to heal and nourish your inner child, is what I'm being told as well. As you do come into self acceptance, as you do establish boundaries. Sorry about that. My camera just cut out. So, this last card that I had was Heart Love, and this was basically about the unconditional center. So, this is really about coming into unconditional love and acceptance of other people and yourself as well. And the reason I guess you've had to go through this whole clearing process is to be able to come to this place. I'm also getting Jesus channeling through at the moment, and he is somebody that you may like to connect with. You might like to ask the guidance. He's saying that he is helping the feminine rising at the moment. So if you are a female or identify as being quite feminine in your energy, he's definitely somebody to reach out to. He's saying to me that he is helping you to shift some of the sadness associated with the lessons that you've had to learn in this lifetime. I might end the reading here. I'm not really getting anything else through. I wish you the best with this process. If you have any thoughts, ideas, comments, or anything that you'd just like to mention, please leave it below in the comments section. All right. Thanks for that.